So this video is going to be a bit different. Like I've got a common theme. So I'm going to talk about work for coffee. Now, work for coffee I wouldn't say it's a movement. I suppose it's a thing that I wanted to start. So I was doing this kind of thing anyway, and I thought it'd be good if other people would want to do the same thing, to build a website, to see if it was the kind of thing that would fly. But I think some people are maybe not confused by what it is, but confused by the fact that it's for all intents and purposes free. So the person receiving the advice that's free is concerned that, hang on a minute, there must be a catch, and the person that's giving the advice is probably thinking, what do I get out of this? So I kind of want to address those two now. I suppose the crux of it is, what I'm trying to set up here is the ability for somebody who is an expert in their field, whatever that field is, to be contacted by somebody who needs their expertise but probably can't afford it, or is a bit worried that when they speak to one person they'll be tied to that person when there could have been a better solution somewhere else. So what Work for Coffee is taking an expert saying, I want you to sign up to give an hour of your time to have a coffee with somebody, for which you will get that contact. That person will speak to you about your expert area, and you will give them impartial advice. And I don't want to use the phrase impartial advice because everyone uses that term, impartial. What I want to kind of get to is that the expert needs to think, well, if I was in your position, with your budget, with the problem you had, what would I do? And if you're an expert, you would agree that you might not necessarily sell the thing that you're working on day to day, because it might be too expensive and it might be overcomplicated, or it might over-engineer the solution when there could be a simpler one. But obviously you're there to sell your stuff. But in Work for Coffee, you are there to tell them what you would do in their situation, and that way they should get the best idea. Now, as an expert, you're probably thinking, well, hang on a minute, if I tell them to go with somebody else, that's not very good for me. And you've got to kind of think the long game. If you tell them to go with somebody else, that's because that's the best place for them to go to, so they'll get the best solution. Now, if you told them to go to somebody else because they're not big enough to need your solution, you might have helped them grow now with the person you told them to go with. And once they get to a point where they need a bit more, and they need to go to somebody else who's a bit bigger, then I suggest they'll come back to you. But if somebody else is talking to them about needing a similar solution or a bigger solution, I'm sure the first person they'll tell them about is you. You gave them that leg up, as it were. So as an expert, you've got to play the long game. And the couple of times I've done this, I do my spiel at the start about Work for Coffee. I kind of say, right, I'm going to put the clock on so I don't, take up more than an hour of your time when you feel pressurised to keep talking to me. So we'll put the clock on, and I will not sell you anything. Throughout the whole time, I will not sell you anything. I'll just tell you what I'm going to do. So having given that speech, normally at the halfway point or just less than halfway point, the person who I'm speaking to normally says, right, can we change this from the Work for Coffee? Can I actually employ you for the thing that you wanted to do? So that's happened a few times, and a few times I've told them that, look, I'm not the right person for this. You don't need this, or you can do this cheaper, or you can do this for free, and more successfully. And I think they appreciate that. And I had an email today from somebody passing the details on from somebody who I've spoke to in the past. So that works. As an expert, it works, but you've got to be prepared to play the long game. And in essence, you're getting a free coffee. You might be going out for lunch anyway. It's you can't be too short-sighted with it. Now, and for the person who's asking for it, so for the person who needs an expert, you should be. I hope I'd convince you that the person that's there is giving you their advice. And it's giving you their advice based on what they would do in your situation. And you might have already made your mind up. You might already be about to sign or about to do the stuff, or you're kind of convinced, but there's a little niggle. So you could use it as just to get a second opinion from a person who's in the industry you're about to either step into or need something from. And that's kind of in a nutshell. And I've spent quite a while trying to question the process, trying to question the way that I think it should work, and I have a good answer for most things. More than happy to have any other questions thrown at me from it. But yeah, so if you're an expert, I'd like you to sign up, and I'd like you to sign up as yourself, not as the company, but as yourself. Now, if you are the company, if you're a consultant, that's fine, that's fair enough. So I'd like to sign up as yourself. Feel free to put the link to your own website in it, and that should improve your SEO a bit. But I'd like to put it down as you, so the person is getting advice from you. And yeah, if you need an expert, then have a look around. And if you use an expert, make sure you rate them at the end, so we get a picture of the I suppose how close the person is to the work for coffee kind of mentality. They're not throwing their stuff down your throat straight away. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell how work for coffee should work. Simple, isn't it?